Michelle said, she said you guys aren't gonna have internet in the morning.
We don't, we never have internet after it rains. It
What?
just rains.
What do they do?
We have to reboot the whole system like 5
Looks like
times.
Tyrone, you got a strip
It's
of,
horrible
on
service.
your little overhang up there, it looks like you got half of it tar paper and then let it rain yet or something.
Hello.
Mark, did you talk to Shannon? Because she said the backwash is still sitting in the basement. So what did you do with the basement? Because she said all of the plans been changed. But he said she's not tied on to that decision.
That's right.
One, sheriff station, she's not
Oh, I can hold on to it, I guess we can approve them.
Should have sent you.
No. But it's coming through a basement drain, where the basement drain is supposed to be right into the sanitary.
An official time is 6:58.
Nope, I did not sit here. See what's going on out there. I know. It'll be better tomorrow.
I know, nope, she's eating like an apple. Well, she's really, she was a bird, so you're gonna.
Call me an extra trash and recycle.
I have what?
Yeah.
6 trash, 1 recycle. So, I don't want too many, if I get in, I just want recycle.
Right.
Okay. They take up a lot of room in my shop.
Your dad's.
I don't think I'm just making fun of
You
you.
want to clean it, just let it go.
Maybe.
It always looks good when it's first raw wood.
All we can
The
do is
color
come
of
down
that.
and
Eventually you got this stain.
Okay.
One looks good. 1 6.
Because I don't want them to bring out a whole stockpile of them and charge us. But at some point, we have to really do it. Pay attention to
Probably commodities, he said, you're gonna get
Two of them, 2 hours. Thank you.
He's spending the whole day.
Thank you. I have no place to park my car.
But then can't we just call it again and say, hey, we have a surplus.
Price of numbers of that together.
Because then we had a call today that we took out, she actually said that, she ordered, she's only gonna need it for a couple months because they have some stockpile of cardboard that they're trying to do.
Okay, everybody ready to start this 7 o'clock? First of all, Jen, would you read the rules, please?
Yeah. So this is just what I wrote. Regarding decorum, these meetings will be conducted a bit different than they were in the past. We will be more closely adhering to Robert's Rules of Order. Each agenda item, before a vote is taken, will open the floor for public comment. You sitting here in the building will raise your hand and wait to be recognized by the chair. Once recognized, you may stay at your seat, but stand and state your name and address for the record. You'll be given 2 minutes to speak on that particular agenda item. When everyone in the building has been given the opportunity to speak on that agenda item, I will read any comments that were submitted before the meeting started regarding that agenda item, and I will text those unable to be in the building to come inside to speak on that agenda item. It's expected that no one will speak unless it is their turn to speak, and when speaking, they will remain on topic of that particular agenda item. If anyone is unable or uncomfortable speaking in public, or would just prefer to speak to us individually, the council contact information is all listed on the town website, dayton.in.gov. We appreciate your cooperation in getting these meetings accomplished in a timely manner.
All right, thank you. So everybody knows the rules. Let's begin. First, I'll take a roll call. Carla?
Present.
Jen?
Here.
Stan?
Here.
Ashley? Here. And I'm here, so all 5 members are present. Okay, next on the agenda is Town Attorney Reed. Do you have anything for this meeting?
I don't have anything for this meeting.
Okay, thank you. Okay, the adjustment reports for January, February, March, April, May, and June 21. I think we'll wait to okay these until the audit is done to approve any adjustments reports. Next is a utility report. Mark, you want to give that?
Uh-oh, is it
It's
done?
all right, it's all right. I'll just-
You gotta flip this switch on
Push it
bottom.
on the end, flip it over, and
I think it was on all the
dump it. Okay,
time.
flip
That's
it.
all right.
You can steal Carla's.
It was on,
Oh, it was on before?
yeah.
Hit the
Should
top.
that light be on?
Yeah.
What kind of batteries does that take?
Well, we can,
That's fine. Not many people do that.
No, but it's live streaming, I think. Do you wanna just grab Carla's?
No, no,
Just
no.
joking. Can't easily
It'll
grab
be
one.
fine.
Okay.
It'll be fine. Okay.
I think we can hear you.
All right. So just a handful of items this evening. First one is the annual hydrant flushing. That's going to happen Thursday. So, Michelle, Jane, if you guys would put on your websites, that some temporary discoloration of water will occur, should be cleared up within 24 hours due to annual hydrant flushing. Okay?
Put that on the reach alert also.
Next item is the 2021 Community Crossing bid opening. That's also happening Thursday, July 15th, and that will be here at Town Hall at 2 o'clock. There's 2 separate contracts. One is for the milling and paving and sidewalk work. The second one is for the crack sealing and seal coating.
that's a regular meeting, right, that we all,
No, it's just a bid opening. Now, you can call it a regular meeting, you know,
I
to,
thought at some of those bid openings before on the streets, I thought we actually opened it up and we turned it over to you, you opened them, and read them real quick and closed them,
well,
but we
you know, I
advertised.
think what's gonna happen Thursday is that, the bids will be open, they will then have to be reviewed by BF&S.
Yeah,
So the contract will not be awarded Thursday, it's just the opening of the bid.
right.
So,
But I think it's gotta be a public, the opening's gotta be to the public, so that all the members can
Is that
come
right?
and
okay.
the public can
Well,
come.
then there's scheduled meeting
Yeah.
for Thursday then.
Okay.
Is there enough time to do that?
Yeah, it's just
What is it, 48 hours?
48 hours.
Okay.
The bid opening itself has to be a public event,
Yeah.
as far as all board members being there and all that stuff.
No, whoever wants to be
I
there.
won't be there.
The ones that I've been to, that, you know, it was not, it was a public bid opening, but it was not a special meeting in itself.
Okay,
Well, we'll advertise it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
so Thursday at 2.
Okay.
The next item is the sidewalk cross share on Washington Street. And I see that it's one of the claims. Do you want to wait until we get to the claims to address that?
Yeah, probably. Well, I mean, I guess it doesn't matter.
It's just one.
Okay.
And then the last item is the stormwater easements for the Dayton Road project. So Reed has those completed, has gotten into them. Got one?
It's not me.
No? I thought it was, I thought maybe it was a weather alert, you know. But anyway, so Reed's got the easements completed, he's got them to me. So, the next step will be presenting them to the homeowners and getting their signatures. I thought what I would do is put together a cover letter with each individual easement, send it to the homeowners, inviting them to meet with me, so that we can walk their property and say, this is what we hope to do on this section of the drainage strip, just so that they're more at ease with the project, and then answer any questions or concerns. So really, that's, besides the sidewalk cost share. Any questions about this stormwater project or the easements? Yes,
The bid opening is already advertised, so,
Yeah.
Mr. Ingram.
okay. So just so you know, in case someone asks, what we're asking for is a 20-foot wide maintenance easement from 6 homeowners. So, that's what it is, just a 20-foot wide maintenance easement. We won't restrict what they do, the homeowners, but we do have to maintain positive drainage down through there so that everything's working right.
And you're gonna address them dumping all their stuff in.
Yeah, we do have a lot of people that put brush and grass clippings and bricks and stuff, and once we get it all cleaned up, we'll want to keep it clean.
Yeah.
That'll be part of that conversation that I have with them.
I'll just add that the work was both me and BFNS. So I prepared the easement document. BFNS had to prepare a new legal description for each of those, for those 2 parts. And then Mark asked me to just track my time separately, so I'll send the invoice just so it can be invoiced to the utilities.
Thank you. Okay, thanks, Mark. Okay, next on the agenda is the post office box. Jen, you want to discuss this?
Yeah, so since the offices have been split, the utility clerk needs to pick up the mail. And I don't know if we want to do that by Michelle just giving her the key, or if we need to get it all rekeyed.
Bridget's been getting the mail all of this time.
But she has to get the key from you, so we just.
There is another key, yes, so if
Okay.
she wants a key, just to grab it, that's fine, because I still have Tammy's key,
Okay,
that's not a problem.
okay.
She's just always grabbed it from me while I've been here.
So we need a motion to have
I'll give her the key before we leave with the meeting over. Or the other key, I should say.
it. Okay, good, thank you. Next is the SWIFT grants. On this, Carla and I have been, I'm looking at the notes here, I've been working with Colin from BF&S and looking into the SWIFT grants, which is State Water Infrastructure Grants. For some of our utility projects, we're doing 4 different projects. We had 3, and then Mark added a small one up on Cagle's Mill. But the Dayton Road, the small ditch that Mark just talked about is around $24,000. Cleaning out we added on the big ditch north of Clifty Falls that we cleaned out a few years ago. We're going to do more cleaning and trimming up branches and taking out some stumps that were never taken out. Doing that project Mark wanted to do a couple years ago, smoking our sewer lines to check for any leaks. That's around $24,000. So, and then Mark has got this 4th little project,
Shackamack,
Shackamack, adding a couple stormwater drains.
Yes.
And we'll get the cost on that. But anyway, it's $50,000, $60,000, $70,000. We're applying for these grants. We can do what we want. But BF&S said the engineering and the grant work will be up to $1,000 to $2,000, but up to a couple $1,000. So we need a motion to okay that.
Are we looking at adding any stormwater drainage to what I would consider the older part of town? You know, the historic district and maybe things that are east of Conjunction Street?
I don't think right now, because we have to have this in, this is a rush thing. and it's a 50% grant. I think when we were talking with Mark before, we're going to do a lot of those other stormwater things, try to tie them in with street projects, like up here on Dayton Road, Main Street, Dayton Road, where we can tie those,
I understand that one makes sense to do.
yeah,
that.
because we're doing the road right there.
Our stormwater infrastructure stops at Bucking Junction, there's nothing east of Big Junction. There's,
So-
and most of those streets have been
Yeah.
repaved.
This was quite a rush to get all this done, in time, and things came on, so, but we'll look at it, yeah.
Hey, can you guys speak into the microphone? I have people saying that they can't hear.
And we'll try to get any of them done that we can here. We're gonna be asking for a lot of grant work.
There's
grants
two
and
waves
stuff.
on this. This is the first wave, and it just came up really fast. And so then, and I'm sorry, I don't remember when the second wave, when that's, we would've got more time. We'll have more time to look into other projects, things we want to do before we make that, other request for a grant then and see. So we got more time for that one to see what we could possibly do and request.
BFNS should have some extensive records from prior councils' work on stormwater projects. I know they had looked at building, back years and years ago, retention ponds in different areas and some things like that. So some of that groundwork may already be laid.
You're right. Years ago, when John Swick was here and the old council, everything was backing up by the fire station there. We went up there and one lady's house had stuff running in all her things. And we scoped everything, and then they did an extensive plan that was going to be $4 to $5 million at that time. They said a lot of those stormwater drains are only 14 inches and should be another 10 inches bigger or something. So those maps and everything are back here.
Right.
We'll have BFNS talk to us about them sometime and try to add any of that to the, or Mark, you ought to look at it.
I mean, some of that stuff may be able to be incorporated as we move along.
Yeah. Sure.
Referring to what Carla said, I've got the paperwork here, and round one is July 15th of 2021. Round two of funding is July 15th of 22.
That's the deadline for the
Yeah, so
application.
we'll have another round to go to add projects to it.
Okay, so did you finish your
I
motion?
did not.
Rhonda, do you want to open for public comments on this?
I
agenda
will as
item?
soon as we have the motion. I always do it after.
After, okay.
Yeah.
So I would make a motion for BFNS to do the engineering work for the grant request up to $2,000.
I second it.
Okay, we have a motion by Carla to allow BFNS to do grant work for the SWIFT grants, and a second by Stan. Okay, any more discussion, or we'll open it up to any comments from the public? Okay, go ahead, Tyrone.
Do you want me to stand up or sit here?
You can sit there.
The SWIFT grant, do you guys know how much it maxes out at? Or is there a limit that you can get on the grant money?
No, as far as I read, there was no specific amount, just you would present your grant and they would give you whatever. There's $50 million in the first round, $50 million in the second, and so then that's divided up, I presume, by whoever applies, and they determine who's eligible, and
Okay. The reason I was asking is, I don't know if Dayton thought about, but, cost of water, wastewater is gonna keep going up. It's, Lafayette owns us basically on that. They're putting in our own wastewater plant, water tower, using these grants and other grants to get the town to be self-sufficient. So, in the next 10 years, Lafayette can charge whatever they can charge whatever they want now. They can just keep upping the price, because what are we gonna do? We have to send our water to them. We get them from them. Water towers aren't necessarily that expensive. You have Mark, who you already have somebody who has the credentials to run a wastewater plant. I mean, I don't know if he'd be around that long by the time you take the bill, but then Dayton could actually use the money for something. And I know that these grants, and I've heard from other clerks, that they had got grants out in Clarksville to build their water tower infrastructure. I didn't know if this could go up to 50,000 or bigger.
I didn't read where there was a limit, I didn't read
like I said, it came up really fast, and so I don't even know if they have their specifications cleared out enough to know.
That's something that years ago Steve Brock mentioned about we might want to consider someday, and we never, the last couple boards or so, never really seemed interested in it. It's more like a pain than, but we'll look into it, and we thought about it some.
The last board did receive information on building a wastewater facility, and it was determined at that time, part of that Steve Brock recommendation was we hadn't reached the price point yet for sewage to justify the cost of building a wastewater facility.
Right, okay,
As far as water tower stuff, I don't think that was addressed.
okay. Do we have any more comments, Dan?
Just so I'm clear, we're talking about spending $2,000 just for the,
The
the
grant.
groundwork for the grants. We're not talking-
The engineering work to get that all pulled together, get the grant pulled together,
Okay.
up to, we don't think it'll be that, but they quoted between 1,000 and 2,000, so.
So, the reason I was asking, so, you get a $50,000 grant, but we're gonna do a $75,000 project, that's kind of what I was asking. So, right now, we're just talking about spending $2,000 in order to, and then see what we get for the grant.
Correct.
Oh, thank you.
Right, and, even if we're, and it's a 50/50 grant, so whatever that we receive, whatever the project is, we have to pay half of that.
Oh,
So if it's a $20,000 project, we would apply 10 from the grant, and the town would also have to pay 10.
okay, so that was my question, was it 100%, but it's 50/50.
Correct.
You spend the money for the consultant work, and there's no guarantee that you'll even get a grant, but you have to, get it in a proper format submitted to the state in order to be considered, and hopefully we'll be considered and get something.
So far, the last 10 years, the grant stuff we've applied for, we've really always got it, I think, for the most part. So there's a good, we keep that running record.
Thank you.
Any other comments from council or public? Okay, we got a motion to have BF&S do our grant writing, spend up to a couple $1,000s. We'll take a roll call vote. How do you vote, Carla?
Yes.
Jen?
Yes.
Stan?
Yes.
Ashley?
Yes,
And I vote yes, so it passes 5-0. The next thing is the State Board of Accounts utility audit. Jen, you want to talk about this?
Yeah, so I mentioned this briefly before that I think the utilities need to be audited, and I still think that we need to bring them in because the meter deposits, the accounts don't balance, and there's some other serious areas of concern that I think need to be looked into. So I would move that we bring in State Board of Accounts for an audit of the utility customer accounts, the meter deposit accounts, and all things utility. And then if it goes beyond that,
Got
then,
a motion?
yeah.
Okay. We have a motion. Does anybody want to second it?
I second it.
Okay, we got a motion to have the State Board of Accounts do a utilities audit, seconded by Stan. Do we have any discussion on this from the council first?
the State Board of Accounts has been in this office, if memory serves me correct, twice in the past 4 years. And I guess I don't quite understand what the necessity is again. I mean, I heard what Jen said, but they have been in there again twice in the past 4 years.
The last time they did the audit, first of all these years since I've been clerk till now, as different clerks got out, we usually did audits anyway, just to have a safeguard for the old clerk going out or moving to a different position and the utilities clerk coming or whatever. They did it on me, they did it on everybody. That audit done a couple years ago was when Alex was here, and I think we all agreed, Michelle had lists on stuff that were done wrong and everything, and they did not, a lot of us felt that that audit was a lousy job and they did not do their job. And those auditors, when they come in, if it's your first term as town clerk, they just say, that's okay, you're learning. Then after that, they get into the nitty gritty. But this is a safeguard for Michelle and the utilities clerk and everybody. And has been, there are some things that have popped up that we don't need to discuss now, but that need to be looked at, so.
I don't know that, when they did that audit when Alex was here, I don't know that was utilities, was it?
It was the whole.
Whole thing,
But not specifically.
yeah, they were looking for basic stuff, and they were learning when they were here. It's a bunch of new guys, and they didn't do their job. So.
These audits, when they happen, am I correct in thinking that they're $9,000 or more to have this be?
Yeah, they cost money, yeah, but then you've got a safeguard that you know everything's done right, and it's starting off in the right place and everything, so. That's what, when I got done as clerk, the board immediately called an audit.
I
To check.
understand about auditing between clerks, and I don't disagree with that. I'm just asking questions here, so.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Okay, anybody else, the public?
So just to address that, so the audit, yes, we did ask for it numerous times, with the switchover, but we were actually way past due for an audit, so we were it was a full-blown audit, it wasn't just looking for simple things. There was one guy out of the 4 people that were here that were new, the lead guy for our area was here that did the vast majority of it, but that was from 15 to 18. I was satisfied with it. I felt like the whole board that was on then. But so at that point, we were 4 years out, which they said that they don't ever like to go that long, 2 years, 3 years tops. So therefore, we're due for an audit for 19, 20, and then we're almost through 21. So I mean, we should be due for an audit anytime now. So to sit here and pay for strictly a so-called utility audit would be a waste of the town's money when we're gonna be due for an audit probably here. I mean, we could technically have an audit right now. There are some towns that have yearly audits. I mean, if that's what you guys wanna do, you guys need to talk to them, but.
Let's see
I mean,
what
they
they
did the
say,
whole thing.
maybe they can come up, all audits cost the town money, first
Right.
of all. But maybe we can, when we talk to them, we can see if they can do both at the same time. Then we
It would be the smarter choice,
Then we
yes.
accomplish everything, so,
Correct.
yeah,
I agree.
okay. Go ahead.
So you're talking about spending $9,000 to do an audit because some things have popped up. I mean, what do you mean things have popped up? Or is there concerns that we're gonna find things that are irregular, or what's the concern then?
I think
Go ahead.
I think the concern is like every other audit in the past that's been called. It clears everything up, and any questions that are probably should be private, not talked at an open meeting, are cleared up and rectified, okay? And then you start over, everybody feels good, you know, the town board, the clerk, the new person, whatever.
Yeah, that's a lot of money to spend if you know, just on like a hunch. I mean, is there things that have happened that you guys know that we don't know? Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Ultimately, they're accusing me of not charging people, waiving penalties and such, which again, like I said, these people or this job is not like an orange jumpsuit. So if they want to waste the taxpayers' money, but the point is I was trained by Alex, who was trained by Lena, who was trained by Ron. So I did everything that I was trained all the way back from when Ron was clerk treasurer. So if things were done, every single one of us, including Ron, has done it. So, but there was no illegal or shady stuff, but if they want to have an audit, all for it. However, they don't need to waste taxpayers' money to have an audit just on strictly utilities when we're due for an audit. That is a complete waste of money.
Michelle, I just said,
Correct,
we're
but I'm
gonna,
saying
we're
for
gonna
things
try to
like-
compare it, and if they do the one, they can wait a year and do the other one at that time, they'll have a lot of the legwork done. I went through 4 or 5 audits.
Every couple of years.
Two or three of them were called just out of political vendetta-ness, you know. All of them I came out okay. Oh yeah, I did little things like signing checks ahead, but no monies were stolen, any of that stuff. But, so this is just, let's look at it, it's just, it brings everything up. There's a lot of animosity out here and a lot of looking at different ways about things. This one we ought to bring up and get everybody feels comfortable, and we're down to square one. It will help you, it'll help Bridget, it'll help everybody, so, you know. Would you like to say something, Ashley?
Mr. Chairman, would,
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm not looking to get in the middle of, whatever this is here, but my concern is that, you said, political vendetta. I'm just hoping that's not what this is, and we're spending $9,000 of the town's money.
It is
for
not
that.
what it is, no.
That's
It
exactly what it
absolutely-
is.
No, it isn't.
And
No.
if there's anything that you can add to that publicly to the public to say, hey, this is the reason that we're doing this, I'd feel better about spending the town's money for this audit, other than things that popped up. So,
If we don't think anything should be looked at, we'd be fools to spend money for an audit, because then we'll look bad in the long run. So we're putting ourselves out on a limb, and we came in this town on a fiscal responsibility more than probably anybody. We don't want to spend the money, but there's things that we just can't discuss that need to be checked. Okay?
okay.
And so
There's
we're
nothing
not
more
just,
that
we're
you
not
can
just
add to
gonna
that.
spend 9,000, 10,000, 6,000, we'll try to get it as low price as we can. And, maybe they'll give us a break, you know?
it'll be about $800 an hour while they're up here.
Well, that's fine, it's gonna be just the
There
same
were
as they
accusations
always.
made before the last audit, and
And it came out perfectly fine, except for a little errors here and there.
pretty much the same thing was said, and we were due for an audit anyway. Audit took place, nothing was found, maybe some tiny infractions on the way paperwork was done, but, as far as the tens of thousands of dollars missing and stuff, that proved to
Remember the
to be
last,
no, but,
Okay.
nonetheless, we'll get a 4-to-1 vote here, and we'll spend the money taxpayers' money to have things on
I have a question.
yes,
So,
Tyrone.
Are you willing enough to think that there's something, because you're saying there's something in there that you found, to put up your own money if the audit comes back that it was perfect? Or you just wanna spend the town people's money just on a hunch?
Okay, we probably do the same as what you did on the last board when it was 4-to-1 and you guys voted to have an audit and it came back clear. So are you guys gonna pull the money out of your pocket and spend it and pay for that audit?
The town was overdue for an audit at that
No,
point.
that doesn't matter. You guys called an audit because you thought you had a whole list of stuff that was done wrong. You stood up here and said, to protect myself, you went down to 20-some items. They didn't even check all of them. You guys okayed it. We all okayed it, so are you willing to pull? Yeah, I did. And are you willing to pull that money out of your pocket because it came back clean? That's
We were in
ridiculous
between
statement,
clerks.
Tyrone.
If you.
Okay, let's move on. We have
in between clerks.
we need to have this checked. So did somebody make a
I made a
motion?
motion, Stan.
Okay, who seconded
I
it?
did.
Okay, we have a motion and a second, and we'll take a roll call vote, to bring the state in and do an audit. Carla, how do you vote?
Yes.
Jen, how do you vote?
Yes,
Stan, how do you vote?
Yes,
Ashley, how do you vote?
No,
And Ron, I vote yes, so it's 4-to-1. We'll go ahead and try to get an audit. Okay, public comments. It's open for public comments now. Does anybody in here or out in the parking lot or somewhere else, do we have any?
No, I do not.
Or maybe they're in the gazebo out there since it's raining, but you guys have anything?
I would probably comment.
Okay, go ahead there.
Why don't you set up a schedule for the audits every time there's a whole new board come in? That way you have, the person's completely, everything's fresh then, like have it on a schedule instead of just, we're gonna randomly pick, we don't like Michelle, or we're randomly gonna pick this. It just seems like you should do stuff more professionally, like we'll do it then and just have it set in an ordinance that beginning of whenever there's a new election, there's a new clerk, even if there's the same clerk, I think you should do that every 4 years, unless you think it needs to be an every 2-year thing, just have it set where it's like clockwork, that way that you can have it set up with the State Board of Accounts, because when you get a hold of them, this could be a year from now when they actually got time to get back to you, but if you have it set up and scheduled, it might work a lot better for the town itself, just to know that we got somebody actually coming, because if they show up next for something that's really is going on, there's a bunch of money lost, that's a whole year you're wasting.
It took us 8 months to get that audit.
Like it, yeah, good question, Tyler. Like in the past, they call them, we've had audits when there's been a change in personnel and stuff like that. That's sort of a given and a regular. It even went so far as all locks were changed on this building, the police, the maintenance building, but all locks were only changed for certain people, okay? But, so this is in the same line as what the 20 years of town boards have done since I've been up here. There's been a lot of audits, and if they can strike a happy medium and you can get both things done, you get both things and out of the way. Some audits take a 5th year, some are done every 2.5 years, whatever. We're gonna talk to them, and if we can get both of them done, we'll get them both done. But we're about due for an audit anyway, so let's try to combine them and go from there. So,
Yeah, I don't have a problem with the audit, I'm just
Okay.
thinking if you could have it scheduled, just in the future, it would be smoother.
we're scheduling it, but you don't know when people are coming and going and leaving and taking over new jobs either. So, okay, anybody else? Okay. All right, nobody on the phone or in the car or anything? Okay. Council comments, we'll start with Ashley.
You know, so, obviously, as a member of this council, I feel that I'm entitled to know when there's problems arise, like you were talking about, deposit funds not meeting whatever standard, and I guess I'm asking why I haven't been informed on this type of event. Seems there's a lot of things that I am out of the loop on, and you four certainly, you'll see pretty good, and so from the outside looking in, I would ask that when problems arise or suspicions arise or whatever, that I be included in it, so I can make a more informed decision on my bills.
Okay. Stan?
The lack of communication from utilities president and board president is absolutely zero. I do not find out things until I'm at a meeting and you're expecting me to vote on something. That's my only comment.
All right, thank you. Stan? Jen?
I have nothing.
Carla?
Nothing.
Okay, I got a couple of things. This is for Ashley, your building and maintenance, so there's a couple of things I think we ought to look at, and if you could look into them, I'd appreciate it. One is right out here, the sidewalk comes down and meets the front sidewalk, and then you have to step across the end of the bed, with bark mulch and everything, to get up on the decking, up on the concrete, to walk up to the door. We talked for several years, if you could find out and get a price, and I'll show you out there.
This sidewalk connects to the sidewalk on the street. Correct?
This one right here. When it goes down right to the street. But before it gets to the street, there's that little bed it's 4 by 5 foot. We need it cemented in so you can take a left and step right up on to the deck out here. Because people have to go down, around, and then step up, and it just makes it a lot more convenient. We've watched people over the years.
Would you also be in favor of adding a grab rail?
Yes,
This entrance
definitely.
on the
You had
south
talked
side.
about that before, and we do need, it'd be nice to have a grab rail.
I think you should.
Yeah, I do, if you could get those costs. And, while you're getting costs, have you been upstairs lately to look at our storage area, 40 years of records up there that you might want to take a look? Somebody needs to go up there once in a while, look if anything's leaking, if it needs cleaned up, since we had this discussion before. And if you think personally something ought to be done that's not being done up there, okay? It's the same, I organized everything years ago, cleaned up everything, the Boy Scouts cleaned up everything. Some of those records, I would recommend you look at them, we get rid of the 30, 40-year-old stuff, 20-year-old stuff. You gotta keep it for 10 years, so if you could let us know on that.
I'll do that.
And then, okay, and just recently I heard was there some kind of this some kind of pest control people that came up in here.
Yes, one of you ordered Franklin Pest Control. He just randomly showed up and said he was doing the annual inspection, and we keep getting the bill for it, and I'm pretty sure I sent it to you guys, and I keep getting notices that it's past due.
Is that for the, back when the termites problem was taken care of?
No, this was, remember I told you, because we called about the bugs in the bathroom,
Right.
and I had said, well, apparently Franklin's been in here, because they just showed up, and then they sent us the bill for, and Bridget and I were like,
Okay.
we didn't even know anybody was coming.
Well, Michelle, let me ask, Stan, did you call them?
No.
Jen, did you call
No.
them? Carla, did you call them?
I don't even know who
And
they
you
are.
guys need to
And-
call
and,
because
Michelle,
they just showed up.
Michelle, please let me finish the sentence. And I didn't call them. So it'd be nice, before you trash us, you find out, at least ask us if one of us called them, okay?
How did I trash you?
Yeah, you know how.
Could you forward us that bill so we have like the bill when we call?
I'm pretty sure it was in like a scan, a bunch of documents, because I've gotten notices now for like 2 months.
What was the name
I
of
don't
the
Open up.
company?
Franklin, he just showed up and walked by the office like he was ordered to be here.
It's
But
just
you're
like
not gonna
Franklin
pay it.
Pest
We're not
Control or
gonna-
something. Yeah.
We
But
haven't
they've been
paid
there
it.
for
I don't remember seeing that. I mean, I've gone through
Yeah.
all the ones that were saved. I don't remember seeing it at all.
Um,
This is the first I even heard about.
well, you guys definitely have to let them know because he came in here.
Michelle, you haven't paid it, have it?
No,
Okay.
because I said it needs to be approved because it's an annual.
Well, I didn't know, some things did get paid, so,
Oh, he's paid it
okay,
one
so
time?
don't, huh?
Yeah, he came
Oh.
and did the inspection and he goes, hey, I'm gonna go in the basement and check and like. we're
If
in our
if you
way.
could
Okay.
send me the bill, I'll call them up and tell them.
I'll personally hand it to you after the meeting.
Yeah, okay, thank you, okay.
Okay.
All right. Anybody else have anything? Okay, no big other business, well, the meeting is adjourned and turn it over to Jim.
Thank you. Okay, first thing is the roll call. We're all five still here. Second thing, Reed.
Yes. Sidewalk ordinance, I don't have ready yet. So I got the last draft from Kayla today. If you remember, we had everything set up just as the 50-50 cost share, but really, we want to have it how Mark set forth with the 7 per square foot, and then it's 50-50 from that.
Yeah.
So we were
Up
just
to
working-
$7.
Yeah, but also, we don't want to put the $7 per square foot number in the ordinance because that could change.
Right.
So we're just working over the language and, we're working on the voting ordinance and got that complete. And so this one will be emailed out to you shortly, but there's nothing to vote on for that tonight. Next is Unified Zoning Ordinance 100. So if you remember last time, I went through this, and you guys wanted to take a closer look. So basically, it would allow basement window wells to extend into a front or rear setback in certain circumstances. It would expand the maximum allowable floor area for contracting businesses. Require fewer parking spaces for farm machinery and industrial truck repair. And it would introduce restrictions to shipping containers used for residential and agricultural storage. So, if you guys have anything in particular that you have questions on, we can go through that, but really you guys need to decide if you're ready to vote to adopt that. Again, it was presented, Area Planning Commission, public hearing was held on May 19th, and there was a vote of 15 yes to 0 no to approve the amendment to the Unified Zoning Ordinance. So therefore, they're now asking you and recommending, to the Dayton Council to adopt that same amendment.
I make a motion, we adopt U-Zone ordinance number 100.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, there's been a motion made by Ashley and seconded by Stan to adopt this ordinance, and we'll open it up for discussion. And I did have some questions about it, so the one thing that would directly impact residents in our town would be shipping containers used as storage. And I don't know that there's very many people that use them, but I know there are people that do, and it would be prohibited. And so, I guess I just don't know enough about who uses them, or why they would need them, or, And you know, I just don't wanna accept this and kinda, not harm the people, but like,
We have a couple people in town that have containers, and they've been there for years, and I think it's like almost part of their house. So you don't want to just.
Honestly, I forgot that this was gonna be here. I brought my notes from ABC, because there were some specifications, specifics that were made about those, and there were, I believe, questions asked that evening about that, and I think those that have been there for years pretty much would be grandfathered in, and they wouldn't come in and just say, it has to go. Now, if they just got it like last month, that's, I think, a different, but there were specifications on what is considered a container and how that
Yeah.
sits. I mean, there are specifications within the ordinance,
yeah,
on what is acceptable, what is not acceptable. And so I don't think it would necessarily create an issue for the people you're considering as a potential property.
Yeah, the document says, this amendment does not address the use of shipping containers as residences.
right.
It only addresses their use as an accessory storage building.
I don't think you really meant that they're part of the
No, I meant
residences,
that they
did you?
didn't.
They were
No,
just
they were
there for
really,
so long.
they were accessory storage buildings is what they're using them for. I just meant they've had them so long, it's like part of their house.
The other, one second. The other thing that I had a question about, was about the ones that don't have to rezone, they can stay ag, and they don't have to rezone to GB. If there's certain industries, and their building can be bigger on smaller sizes. I just wasn't sure what impact that could have on Dayton, not necessarily now, but in the future. If any.
Yeah. Again, materials state that, I think that's part D, electrical contractors building size limitation. This would make changes to footnote 8 in permitted use table. Currently, the following contracting businesses: building construction, general contractors, and operative builders, asphalt or concrete paving contractors, and specialty trade contractors are all limited to a lot size of 5 acres or more, and buildings of no more than 5,000 square feet in the rural zones, when they also need a special exception. Because this requirement is in the permitted use table, is not a standard that can be varied. In the past, this has led to an A, ag, to G, general business rezone. This amendment would remove these standards from a footnote in the use table and create a new section in chapter 4, which they can be varied if necessary. This will keep businesses from rezoning to GB when they are located in a rural zone and need their business to be in a building larger than 5,000 square feet in area. This section also bumps up the 5,000 square foot building limitation to 8,000 square feet and allows the uses on tracts as small as 2 acres in area.
And it was 5 acres.
Yeah, why would they care? It seems to me like Purdy Concrete or Brand Electrical out here are all on ag land. Why would they, it seems to me like they would want them, so they would want them to rezone it so the people around them had a say-so in it. You go down to Brands now, and they've added a humongous warehouse beside there and a humongous parking lot, and I don't know, I'm not particularly fond of some of the language in here. It seems to me like you're letting these people have a lot more square foot buildings on a smaller acreage that's gonna look nasty. If you were out there next to them, you would think, why do I want this huge 100,000 square foot warehouse or 50,000 square foot warehouse? But I think they ought to rezone. I've always thought that area plan, always you rezone your land if you want to take it for a different use. If you just let these people do GB businesses in an ag designation, I think, seems like you'd have a lot of people that lived around there fighting them that wouldn't like it, right? Because you're letting them go out in the country on ag land and set up and do a GB business with no rezoning.
You're saying it's in footnotes now, but it brings it up to a separate category. So I don't know that you're really changing a whole lot now. They are changing some on acreage and such, but
I'd like to hold off one more month, and I'd like to personally go down with Carla or something, to talk to area plan, see what, a little more about that, because when I read it, you know, and thought about it, and dwelled on it a lot, but it just seemed like there's gonna be some people affected that have a nice house, and now they're gonna be able to get these businesses in next to them. You know, easier, get them moved in. Like, when we put our nursery back here, we had to take land and we had to rezone a neighborhood business. You wouldn't want us just to be able to do anything and just let us expand our buildings and all that without doing the rezoning, but you could get yourself in trouble.
When you suit yourself, it doesn't sound like you're sidestepping the rezoning policy.
Yeah, I'd like to ask some more questions if you could.
There's
There's no
on that, Carly?
rushing.
Yeah, I think in most instances, there's still gonna be a requirement from A to GB zone.
Right.
So
They're just saying that basically there was, I think, a technical, issue that required people who otherwise would not need, weren't actually doing something that the area plan commission staff thought required GB zone. They're not actually putting in a business. They just have their own property, and in order to, put something more than 5,000 square feet on there, they have to go through the whole process and expense of rezoning from ag to GB. And so they were trying to,
Well, there
make
was-
that less restrictive and less cumbersome on the property
Well,
owners. But
there
I
was-
can't, this is very technical language, so if you, have questions about it, I'm not gonna be the best source, like I can just explain to you, what they summarized. Because I didn't look closely at these use tables, that they're talking about to piece all this together, and, they're very, that's what they do on a day-to-day basis. So if you want to have questions for them,
Could we
That's
wait
fine.
one more month?
Yeah. Did you have any more comments?
No.
Ron, do you have any more comments on this?
My only comment is that I think they do a lot of changing, because now, it used to be, I like the idea you had to rezone and you had some more loopholes to go through, so you couldn't just throw anything on them or make it easier, and that's why they originally did it for the last 50 years, you had to rezone. I don't know what quite, until you talk to them downtown, what quite, if it's made too easy. Some things have been passed that now all of a sudden you can have a house with 3-foot lot line instead of a 12-foot lot line. Or like Malacca's, you can have 6-foot lot lines. Used to be 12-foot, you couldn't have, so they changed a lot of things, I think.
We're only talking about UZO 100, we're only talking about these 4 specific
Okay,
changes that are
Yeah.
issued.
I'd
You
like
can
to
talk
look into
about,
it.
everything else the area plan does, but, you guys need to decide, it's,
Maybe it's okay, but I'd like to ask some questions more, I guess.
Carla, do you have anything to add?
I don't.
Okay, and there's public comment.
I just wanna
Could you state your name and address, I think, for the record, it needs to be on there.
Tyrone Taylor, 734 Walnut Street.
Thank you.
Could you, for like the people who already have the shipping container, as a garage, like the guy down here, I don't know his name, but, just grant a variance if you did pass that for people? Where that, like, you could, I don't know if you wanna pass this, because this sounds like a lot of stuff, but if you pass this, and, you had that, the guy who's down the road, he comes up to you, could you grant a variance to allow him to have that?
You gotta go down there to
So
plan to
they have
get
to
the
go-
variance, yeah, you
because-
can't do it out here, so.
I think that the grandfather problem is, down, like when you get to area plan, they don't, you're gonna have somebody else come in and say, well, we've had ours for 3 months, and then you're gonna have a serious fight happening with people when they try to pull the grandfather move, unless it's been like 100 years. So I didn't know so I guess the town board can't pass a variance, it would have to be area plan?
Well, we
correct,
got-
procedurally, this is just an amendment to the Tippecanoe County zoning ordinance, which applies to the town of Dayton.
I just have a question, so if they,
Could you state your name and address for the record?
oh, I'm just speaking as the clerk treasurer, so, Michelle.
Well, no, it's public comment, so you'd be speaking as a member of the public.
But you didn't give me the opportunity to speak as the council.
Yes,
if they-
Michelle, you're speaking as a member of the public, you don't get.
Sorry, Michelle Freewer, 290
Thank you.
Washington, but I'm speaking as the clerk treasurer. So if they don't pass this, what does it mean? So like, say they deny to pass this, because like, I know there are things that they wait months. There was another thing that they waited a while and put off, and the area plan was calling me because they wanted their copy of, hey, where is this at? And I was like, well, they're still sitting on it. So what if they deny that or refuse to pass it, then what happens?
It's passed, because the majority of the towns and the members down there go ahead and pass it. Dayton in the past has okayed most of them, but they haven't okayed all of them.
So if you guys don't okay it,
They
does it
still pass it,
trump
they still have it, but we're registering I guess a complaint or a gripe or something. And if enough people don't like it, then they don't pass it. If enough towns, we don't know, Battlegrounds passing it, next place, the next place, the way I understand it. We haven't
Right.
always passed everything, and.
Well, I just didn't know, since we go, like, when regarding permits or building things, we always say go to area plan. So if area plan passes it for Tippecanoe County, but the town denies it, does the county still trump the town denying it, whether they approve it or not, or accept it or
Yes.
not?
That's my understanding, yeah, there's no separate Dayton zoning ordinance.
Yeah,
So,
they,
yeah, I mean, you can
yeah.
go down and talk to them, it doesn't mean that you have the ability to
Not.
deny it. That's all, that
No,
all
we
depends
can,
on.
we can vote here and deny it, and they have the votes, and they can still put it in the Unified Zoning Ordinance, and we still, if we have land out here or whatever, we gotta still go through their steps and everything. But towns are supposed to look at it, everybody that gets it is supposed to look at it and decide, do they like it or not? They're not just supposed to rubber stamp it, so.
So this
we're
is not
looking.
officially passed until every town in Tippecanoe County agrees or disagrees with it? Or it's passed from Tippecanoe County?
I'm not involved in in their process, I don't know where they're, I don't know who's voted or what they're doing, I believe that, they wait until they hear from everyone, but, I
Okay,
mean,
gotcha.
Yeah, I mean, they've already voted to approve the amendment.
But then it has to go to Lafayette, West Lafayette, Battleground, Dayton is the incorporated towns in Tippecanoe County.
If you're part of the E-zone,
Right.
Yeah.
Shadeland is not.
Shadeland is not, yes. So if the three of them vote for it, and we opt out, it still goes in just like,
Right.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, I can't, I don't deal with that on a daily basis, you'd have to talk to the area planning staff or their attorney, on how their procedurally, their votes work.
Looking at the makeup, it was a 15-0 vote at area plan, so
yeah, but that's, that's,
their representatives were on area plan, West Lafayette, Battleground, Dayton, and they all liked it, so.
And they also voted unanimously on the Uzo amendment that you could only have, you couldn't have 3 horses in town, in your towns either. And we made years later, we found that out because our president of the board had illegal horses. So then we changed it and made our own special exemption and got them to okay it. So you don't always want to just pass everything just because that was a bad thing for us at that time.
There's another public comment. Could you state your name and address?
Danny Spencer, 752 Main Street. Is there a time frame that the town has to respond to this amendment?
No, there's not.
Is there a certain point where area plan doesn't care whether we respond? I mean,
Yeah, after a while, they don't care.
They'll be calling me for it.
I mean, at some point, I imagine that you want to set a date to make a decision. Just ask it.
This is the second month for this board, for sitting on it, so.
Maybe we'll have a decision the 3rd month, hopefully.
We should.
Ashley, do you want to rescind your motion so that we?
I will withdraw my motion for a vote on E-zone ordinance number 100.
All right, next item is the amended voting ordinance. It's fairly short as far as the change, I'll just read that. So section 3715 is what would be changed. So it says, one member of the town council shall be elected from each ward by the voters of the whole town. Said member shall reside in the ward that he or she represents. 2 members shall be elected at large by the voters of the whole town. Said at-large members can reside in any ward. So, we have it drafted. I just got that today, so I sent that all to you. I didn't have a chance to send it to Michelle yet. So my recommendation is, we don't rush this, since it's, changing voting, and you guys schedule this for first reading at the August meeting, and then vote to adopt it in September. And that way you can post the draft and,
It's on the website now.
okay, great. So do you guys want to have any discussion on that, or?
Do you have any discussion, actually?
I don't know.
Okay, Stan, do you? Ron, do you? Carla? Anyone in the audience, any public? Yeah.
If you're gonna let people vote all over town for each ward, why are you keeping the wards? Like Battleground just abolished their wards and just has it, everybody's at large. And it seems to make a lot more sense than, if, say you don't have somebody in a ward, what are you gonna do? Right? You have Ward 2 or something, there's nobody running. Then does that person, when they go down to file which ward they're in, but we disqualify because they're running in a different ward than, they signed up to run in because they come at large? So why not just abolish it, just so it's the same as what you're doing, but then you don't have to worry about having people in certain sections, just in case. I mean, now it's probably not as hard, but I know back in the older boards, there was problems with getting enough people throughout the town.
Yeah. When the wards were being dealt with last time, I thought that you guys wanted those wards because then it was representatives from different parts of town, instead of, everyone on the board living on Dayton Road, I thought was the top. I suggested this way just because it was a very easy change. It wasn't a whole bunch of money spent on changing an ordinance, it was just a few words.
I mean, it's the same, I was just going off how like Battleground other places have done it.
Yeah. Good. Well, hold on, there's another public comment. Did you say
Cindy
your name
Marsh,
is- Thank you.
Cindy Marsh, 749 Shady Lane. I kind of agree with Tyrone that it seems like it could be, anybody from anywhere, just abolish the wards. But when it was changed just a few years ago and there was a public meeting on it, most of the people that spoke felt like there should be a representative geographically from every part of town. And so that kind of makes sense too. I mean, nothing would upset me either way, but I think it does make sense to have it geographically dispersed like this, what Reed has proposed does.
Yeah, I can
just
just add,
leave it
so I
with this.
talked to the Indian Election Division, when I was working on this, and they gave a little background. So there was a law passed that if you were a town like we are with less than 3,500 population, they made a state law that said you had to certify your wards, or all of the districts would be abolished. And the reason they did that is there was just a lot of arguing over what the actual districts were, because, in small towns, like, it had been, maybe put on some kind of a document from like 1930s or 1940s, and different sides would say, hey, we have this or that, but they hadn't actually filed it with the clerk. So they made the law change saying, everyone's districts are gonna be abolished, which would mean that, anyone can run and everyone votes for everyone, unless you do this. And so what the town decided was to pass that ordinance, so that, at that time, the wards weren't abolished. And so we did the ward, we did wards. So I checked to see, legally, if you can just do it that way, and that's a yes. I checked to see if you can legally keep the wards, but have everyone vote in all of them, and that's a yes. So, you know, that's kind of where it is for me, and it's just up to you guys to decide which option you prefer.
You had something?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, the last time we argued about these wards, it seemed like there's such a argument about having, some people wanted wards, and then a lot of us didn't want any wards, and just wanted the 5 top people. Everybody votes for everybody, and 5 top people take it. But this would keep it simpler, and not have to go through, there was quite a bit of arguing before, it seemed like a little bit, it sort of split the town a lot, so I like your idea.
I think we need to have geographic spread out, you know. I think we could get people to run.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I guess that was the other thing that they did say, you know, some towns just have abolished the awards because it can be hard to find candidates.
Is there any further council discussion? Yes.
Danny Spencer, 752 Main Street. So is there, what happens if there isn't a candidate in a particular ward? Is there language in there that discusses that, how you deal with that?
I don't think we have language in there about that.
I mean, it seems like that would solve that problem, that, you know, you have, if this happens, but from my standpoint, I mean, even though Dayton is a small town, you know, there's unique pockets, you know, I mean, you got, you know, newer houses out here, you've got older houses out here that don't have sewers and things like that, so I can see where having the different wards that have a representative from your particular area would be beneficial, but I think there should be some language in there to address what happens if you don't have a candidate in a particular ward.
I think you have to have a candidate, you know, in order to fill the seat, you know, so I don't know that adding language would help. You know, I mean, the person who's in that seat has to decide to be a candidate. You have to meet the candidacy requirements, you know, so if we set the requirements, you know, I don't know that would help unless it, and then I think it probably just goes down to appointments, you know, like what happens if someone vacates a seat.
That's what they did before. I mean, if somebody didn't run, you didn't have somebody, then the council would go out looking and appoint somebody.
But we would have to appoint them from that board if there was no candidate, even though. Right.
I believe so, yeah. Well,
A lot of people are afraid to run, but after the
I don't know.
council appoints them, it's easier.
that probably gets into some, you know, more complex law that would need to be researched, you know, because if you have, you know, that requirement, but then no one's eligible, that may or may not, you know, open it up to where you can go for everyone, but I can't opine on that.
Okay.
Hybrid meetings. So, right now we're doing back to public meetings. I think Jen was just wanted to discuss me preparing some legal documents so that we can take advantage of hybrid meetings if we need to. And those have been, you know, there's some resolutions and some templates that have been shared. I kind of looked at it closely, but I think that's basically what it was on there for. If you guys want me to engage in, do a little research and prepare a resolution for you guys on hybrid meetings.
So I thought it would be useful, and we can't have the hybrid meetings without having the resolution or whatever we need passed, so.
Why do we need hybrid meetings? Is that where you don't have to show up for an in-person meeting as a board member if you don't?
I don't think that it's, you don't have to show up. I think it's if you can't.
I think it might be that you can have like some people in person and some people not in person, but
But you have to have at least 50% of the council, of the membership of that, whatever committee or whatever it is, at least minimum 50% have to be in person. And then there are requirements as far as anybody who's at home, whether they can or cannot speak, and whether they can or cannot vote. And so there are specifics set forth for that, and how that would all work. And that would all have to be set within the ordinance itself and the resolution, and based on what the state mandated that you can or cannot do.
Wasn't there also a thing about that you could only do so many as a council member? You could only do so many hybrid meetings in a row or something?
I just haven't looked at.
There might have been something about
I
that.
know there was something about so many in a row.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it's in a row or so many.
Within a certain time period.
There was something mentioned about that, but I don't remember the specifics,
So does the council want Reed to look into this further? Is this something that may be useful for this town? We should look into that more?
Kind of like the way our government's set up, you know, the House and Senate of US, you know, if you're not at a meeting, you can't vote.
Yeah, and I think it does say that,
You
but you can still participate.
know that you can't participate, you can't vote.
Oh,
If you're-
you
if
just
you're
want,
there.
you can't participate at all if you don't.
Right.
Yeah, okay. Stan, do you have anything? Do you think it's worth looking into further, or do you think it's not really necessary?
I think if we can't get together, then we just have to go back to our virtual meeting, you know. Because it would be, I don't know, the logistics of trying to get it all to work would be really,
So, once, the way I understand it, once the health emergency expires, we can't meet virtually. So, in order to do anything but in person, we would need a hybrid meeting possibility.
Yeah, so pre-pandemic, there was already an electronic meeting statute, but, you know, it only applies in certain circumstances. And so we've all been operating under these, you know, amended rules that only apply during health emergency. So that's gonna go away. And so they're looking at, you know, other options that will be available after the public health emergency.
But going all virtual is not.
Right.
Yes, basically, it's just kind of a hybrid. So you either decide if you're gonna do a hybrid and have things in place, should something come up where you need to, you know, or, you know.
Do you want to comment?
I just think you ought to be here for the meeting, and if you're a council member and you're not here, you don't vote.
Okay,
Uh,
okay. Is there any public comment on the matter? So perhaps we should take a vote on whether we look into it further. I'm getting a no from Ashley, a no from Ron. No, okay. Never mind. No further looking into that. Okay. Did you have anything else?
No, that's all I have.
Okay, thank you. Okay. Next on the agenda is Reach Alert, and I've given you a sheet of paper. I'm sorry the font's so small, I didn't realize it was so small until I printed it, but it just has some other, like the same idea as Reach, where you can, you know, text a bunch of people to tell them like if there's an emergency or something that they need to know. Currently, we have 145 people signed up for Reach, and the cost is $3 per person that's signed up. And so,
Per year?
yes, our invoice due would be $435. And so, if you go down, you can see some of them were more expensive. Some of them, like this text line was like $720 a month. Obviously, we're not gonna go with that. But there were some that I thought might be good possibilities for us, particularly Textedly, which was $288 a year. And that's 1,200 messages a month. And I think that last year only 13 messages got sent. So 13 messages to 145 people, I don't think we would use all our messages each month. But also ClickSend, it's $1.99 per month, so $24 a year. and then you pay for whatever messages you send. So if you send a picture, it's a little more than 4 cents, and if you send without pictures, it's about 3 cents. And you just pay, you know, if there's 145 people signed up, you pay for 145. If there's 500 people signed up, then you would pay for that. And a lot of these do have a free trial, so if any of you wanted to look into these and maybe sign up for the free trial and see how it all works, like the dashboard or whatever, that's kind of what I was thinking.
Can I make a comment on the Richler?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so, when we signed up for Reach Alert, they did do for the first year, they calculated by all of it was either the residents or the houses, I think it was the residents, and it was like $2 a person, and that was for the first year, and then the second year went to 3, and we had originally voted, because I was like, listen, we don't have that many people, that's a ridiculous amount, so we had voted, I think, to originally terminate Reach, but then I called them to terminate, and they're like, well, listen, let's make you this deal, let's only charge you for the residents that you have, and so, say, like, we renewed our service, and you put it out, and 400 more people signed up, you don't get charged for those people until the next year. Yes, I was slacking last year, I can guarantee we could have sent out a lot more messages. I think Reach Alert is a great thing, and I would be more than happy to hand it over to you, and you can change the user and run with it, and see if you can get more. I just think trying to go to those more expensive, and for the fact that Reach Alert is doing that deal with us, but I think that, like, if there's an accident, or, like, especially if the internet's down at the utility office, you can send out a message that she can't take calls or payments or whatever.
Yeah,
So personally, like I said, I'd be more than happy to hand it over to you, because I know that you put out a lot of things about trash, or this or that, or when there's construction. So I'd be more than happy to turn that over to you and let you have full control of it.
a lot of the ones that I was mentioning aren't more expensive, they're actually less expensive.
Well, I think if you utilize it more, you would be sending out more messages.
Yeah.
So if you think about utilizing it more, and then really think about that, like with what you post on Facebook, you would probably go over that 1,000, like that one, that was the 1,000.
Oh, the
you paid-
1,200 messages. per
Yeah,
month.
so that's what I'm saying, like, they've been really good with us, you know, about that. But that was just my opinion, but like I said, you can, if you continue to renew Reach Alert, you can have.
These other companies, I mean, do they offer email and text both?
I just looked into texting. A lot of them were like text, call. I don't know,
And Reach Alert does text and email.
maybe emails on it.
I've heard from more than one resident that they like the email part, you know, text and email. You know, there's some people that don't have text capability on the phone, and they do rely on the email. For no more savings than what I'm seeing here, you know, you're talking less than a couple $100 a month. I'd question whether that's worth the hassle of everybody re-signing up and the switch over and all that.
But Reach gets more expensive the more people you have signed up. So Reach is only $435 right now, but let's say we had 500 people signed up, that would be like a dream, right? We could reach most of the people in
That'd be
town.
great,
It was really hard for us to get it to
Yeah.
145.
Yeah, so then you're looking at $1,500. And that's like, you could send out, I assume,
I mean, maybe,
Reach is one message, or you could send out,
you know,
No,
maybe
you
if
can
you
send
get,
out as many as you want.
yeah.
maybe if you get more people signed up, so that cost differential grows, you know, that's when you switch over.
Or look at in January, if you get 300 more people signed up, then look when it comes to where renewal again.
But it's renewal now for Reach.
Yeah, it is.
So that's why I don't wanna wait till more people get signed up and then switch it, I'd rather switch it now.
When's the actual due date?
I think,
It's like
I think
this week or next week.
I think
So
you lose
just
half
hold
your
on
people.
1 second. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Switch it.
go ahead, Ashley.
I think you'd probably lose half of your people if you made them re-sign, you know, for a new system.
Or we would gain so many. Stan, do you have anything?
I mean, I think it ought to be promoted, and I'm all for it, and I do wish more people would sign up for it, but
we were putting it on the bills and Facebook, and that's how we got.
I mean, quite frankly, if you bother with it, Caroline, she was always the water comes out of the spigot, they could care less about road construction or whatever, but.
Right. Did you have anything?
I think we ought to look into it and change to a cheaper person, and I think we need to definitely hold off and cancel this next payment until we talk about it a little more. This is sort of, you made a couple comments to me in private and just talking, and I don't think I don't know that there's enough information together to make a decision tonight.
Yeah.
But it seems to me like I've heard several negative things in the past too, but this is a quick synopsis right here, and so could we think about this one?
What were negatives on the text of us? I mean,
I'd like to, this is presented tonight, we could tell them to hold off a month, we'll have a decision next month. I'm sure if we make that decision and go with REACH, I'm sure they'll be glad to sign us again. But I know Jen had talked to me about there's cheaper places out there and stuff that different reasons, so.
Can you find out if email is included?
Yeah, find an email.
And a lot of time also check, because the first year is cheaper, and then the second year the prices go up.
Yeah.
So that's a- there as well.
Were there any resident comments on this? Yes.
So you said we have 145 people signed up out of 3,500 in the town?
1,500.
1,600.
So talking like 10% of the population.
Well, I don't know that they're all in
So-
town, but there aren't that many people signed up.
So if you haven't figured out, I'm definitely a fiscal conservative, and it seems like it's a waste of money all the way around.
Do you have it, you mean?
Yeah, just to have it all together, because, I mean, I guarantee you, between the Facebook sites and websites, there's plenty of communication ways in this town to get information out. And I don't think the REACH alert is really worth the money at all. That's my personal opinion.
I agree with you.
Was there any other public comment?
We're talking about any notification system period, right? Or not just REACH alert?
Anything that's costing the town money. I just think that, you know, you communicate with your website, everybody communicates with their Facebook, you know, in real time. So, I mean, not the only thing I think I've seen on the REACH that I really even noticed was, hey, your water bill's due, and I already paid it the day before. But,
Oh, that's
I'm all for saving money. I think that would be the right thing to do.
And I'm sorry, Carla had asked you, when is that bill due?
It's like this week or next week or week. So I mean, it's due soon, but I know like if you say, hey, we're looking into it, they'll let you hold off a month or whatever.
Okay.
They're really good people.
Okay.
That's if they haven't done it.
Yeah, they might, because like I said, I called the cancel, and they're like, well, hey, let me do this for you. So if you're like, if you call them and say, hey,
Maybe tell
I'm
them,
looking at it.
tell them what kind of rates you're seeing from other places.
Okay.
And this, just to clarify, I just want to make sure I'm understanding, this 435, that's for the year, not per month?
correct.
Okay.
It's $3 per resident that's signed up. They were originally charging us for everybody in town, but then when I called to cancel, that was in 19.
Okay, moving on, the 2022 budget. I just put this on here to check in with you, Michelle, if there's anything like, if we're on a timeline, or if there's anything that you need, are you gonna need help with the budget, or?
So I have the budget workshop set up with our rep from DLGF, it's sometime in August, I have it on my calendar. So I have that workshop with them, and I do that every year. And then Janet did get a hold of me. I think I had Financial Solutions the first year helped me. Janet helped me last year, and she's already been in contact with me about helping me again. So I would like to get approval, because like I had talked to you guys before, I think almost every clerk treasurer has somebody, because if you mess up the budget, that messes up your whole next year. So it just starts the workshop, and then pre-worksheet, I think it is gonna be due here soon. So I think probably, because I wanna say budget is due in October, and you have to have the public hearing, and all of those different things. So probably at the August meeting, we guys might wanna start really thinking about that, and I can talk to Janet and kind of talking to everybody and start getting ideas. Because I think starting to talk about the September meeting is gonna be too late to start the process of, really kind of getting in on wraps and look, is Scott gonna get a police car? Is Mark gonna get a truck? Is there gonna be big projects? What do we need, to put in infrastructure back for CCMG matching, like things like that, so. I'd be more than happy to sit down with you and Ron as the utility president, or meet with you guys individually and kind of get ideas so I can let Janet know. But I would like approval for her to help me with the budget again this year, because then she'll be with me with the whole process. She said that she could be on the workshop with me with, our budget.
I'm sorry.
Okay,
What-
go-
I just have a question, the workshop, what are you talking about workshop?
It's a budget workshop that is virtual with the DLGF.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so it's just a, kind of a little pre-thing with them, that we do every year.
Ashley, did you have any comment?
No.
Okay, Stan, go ahead.
Okay, first of all, Janet called me a couple of weeks ago and asked me if this town would like to be put on the list. And I said, well, because she had to sort of space the towns out. And I said, well, probably, but Michelle hadn't mentioned anything, so I told her to call you and ask you. It will cost about, this year, $1,500 for her to do it, in case anybody's wondering how much it costs. Years ago, when I had help, we had a private individual, and it was $30 an hour, so we got it done quite a bit cheaper. But clerks do, like Michelle said, they always do get help. Janet did say that basically she does the whole thing. You give her the information, she does the whole budget, basically. So if you want to continue that, where somebody else does the budget, that's fine. The only thing I asked Janet for is let us have some input and really, so we just don't ask for everything under the sun if we don't need it and stuff. And she said she would, but.
And she always,
That's fine.
like she had said last year, you always ask for the max, and then when I come to you, you guys can lower it, but you can't raise it, I believe was the thing. So that's why it came at the max when I presented it to you. And then when I present it to you, that's when you guys make changes. And if that's like what I remember correctly, is that's why they always put. And then when we turned it in, so then we didn't lose when they approved the budget. So again, if you ask for the max, if they give you the max, it doesn't mean that you have to spend the max. But they said it's always better in case you have an emergency.
And you know they're not gonna give you the max.
Yeah, they're not.
Yeah.
But I think she needs to get, we need to, any of our thoughts on plugging in things and different stuff, we need to tell her and be involved in the process.
Right, and we had the thing where I presented it, and if you guys wanted to do like a work session with her, we could do one of those for her to come up and sit and have a meeting that's just that, and discuss things and have public input or whatever.
Carla, did you have anything?
I do.
Okay. Was there any public comment? Not the 2022 budget at this time? Okay. I would make a motion to allow Janet at HR Solutions help Michelle with the 2022 budget.
Second.
There's been a motion made by myself and seconded by Carla to have Janet at HR Solutions help with the budget. Is there any further discussion from the council? Okay. We'll take a roll call vote then. Ashley?
Yes.
Stan?
Yes.
Ron?
Yes.
Carla?
Yes.
And I'm yes, so that passes 5-0. Okay, on to the next thing, the allowance dockets. So we do have the February allowance docket and our time card, so I would move to approve the February 2021 allowance docket.
Second it.
Okay, there's been a motion made by myself and seconded by Stan to approve the allowance docket from February 2021. Is there any discussion from the council? The public? Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Say nay. Okay.
And I just remembered, I totally did not send that to you guys, so that's my bad. I sent you the time card, so I don't think I sent you the allowance docket.
Oh, for May and June? Yeah, so we'll just wait and hold
Yeah,
off on those.
that's my bad, I apologize.
That's okay. So the claims. So I think we should do at least this one separate. So Brian Bell for the sidewalk. Do you want to talk about this, Mark? Or do you have?
Only if
anything
you have any questions.
Okay. So what I've calculated is it's 416 square feet, and we're giving him $3.50 a square foot, so we should be reimbursing him $1,456. If you look at his invoice, well, his proposal, it's like a proposal, but then it was an invoice and he paid it. He has 336 square feet on here, but Mark did measure it, it's been measured twice, and it is 416 square feet. So I imagine that we're just going to reimburse him for what was actually done. Is there any council discussion on that? Anybody have any?
How much did you say that was,
1,456.
We would reimburse him that times the $350, that's what we'd come up with before.
Yep.
No matter what it costs them, everything, that's a participation, it's after they paid the bills.
I would move to reimburse Brian Bell $1,456 for the cost of his sidewalk.
Second.
Okay, there's been a motion made by myself and seconded by Carla to reimburse this money to this homeowner. Is there any discussion from the council? Any from the public? Yes.
What was the total bill cost? I was just wondering like how you're splitting, is it 50% or are you doing 20%?
So we're doing 50/50 up to $7 a square foot, so it's like $350. Because that's what our ordinance will say. Are there any further? Okay. Everyone in favor of reimbursing this gentleman $1,456, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Say nay. Okay. That passes 5-0. For the Menards, Mr. and Mrs. Tire, Murtaugh Law, Robinson Tire, and Taft, I was wondering if I could just do those all at one time, Reed, or if I need to go through each one and name the invoice and the date and the amount. Okay. I would move to reimburse the Menards claim dated 6/9/21, invoice number 23938 for $6.12. There's been a motion made by myself and seconded by Carla. Is there any discussion from the council? Public? Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Nay. 5-0. I move to approve Mr. and Mrs. Tire invoice number 241501 dated 6/21/21 for $43.50. Is there a second?
Are these two separate invoices?
Nope, it's the same invoice, but the first one they sent had tax on it. So Scott went back to them and said, hey, I need you to take this tax off, and this is what they gave them.
Gotcha. I'll second.
Okay, there's been a motion made by myself and seconded by Carla to approve the Mr. and Mrs. Tire invoices. Is there any discussion from the council? The public? Okay, everyone in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay? Okay, 5-0. I move to approve invoice number 831 dated 7/7/21 from Murtaugh Law for $4,517.50.
Second.
There's been a motion made by myself and seconded by Carla to approve the Murtaugh Law invoice. Is there any discussion from the council? From the public? Okay, everyone in favor of paying the Murtaugh Law invoice, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Say nay. Okay, 5-0. I move to approve invoice number 6827803 dated 6/24/21 for $208.05 from Robinson Tire and Auto Service.
Second?
There's been a motion made by myself and seconded by Carla to approve the Robinson Tire invoice. Is there any discussion from the council? Public? Okay, everyone in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? I move to approve the Taft invoice dated June 16/21, invoice number 3748912 in the amount of $2,193.
Second?
There's been a motion made by myself and seconded by Carla to approve the Taft invoice. Is there any discussion from the council? From the public? Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, that passes 5-0. And then the last two, there's one for Castor live streaming that I paid. It's for the year, it's $134.99. It's so I could live stream to Facebook and YouTube at the same time, so that people could watch it if they weren't on Facebook. And then the other one is for when we sent out the letters to everybody in town that said we were reinstating late fees and late penalties. I had to pay the postage for that at the post office, so that's $124.99. So Stan, do you want to?
What's the total?
$259.98.
I make a motion to reimburse Jen $259 for the, two items he listed.
Second?
Okay, there's been a motion made by Stan and seconded by Carla to reimburse me $259.98 for Castor and for postage.
Open
Is
for
there any-
comments.
Yep,
Why are we paying for live stream?
so that it could go to both places.
I mean, isn't it free to live stream on Facebook?
Well, but to get it to both places for people that watch it on YouTube.
Can't those people go to Facebook to watch it?
Well, if they don't have Facebook.
I mean, there's always in the past, there's always been at least one person, if not two, to live stream these meetings.
Facebook. Trying to make it as accessible as possible.
But is it worth $135 for 6 people to watch it live on YouTube? Because when I went to their website, it said it was monthly. All of their things were monthly. It wasn't yearly. Because I'm pretty sure
To
that,
Castor's website?
I'm pretty sure, doesn't your invoice say monthly live streaming? Because every single one of their pricing was monthly. The yearly was 1,000 some odd dollars.
Invoice X7B8W multi-stream plus yearly. Is there any further discussion from the council?
It's kind of like the regional, I guess.
Anything from the public?
Is there a way to tell how many people are looking at it from YouTube?
Sure. I couldn't tell you right now, I mean.
Cindy should be able to tell you.
Is that something we can get in the future, just to figure out how many people are watching?
Okay, any further discussion? Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Okay, that passes 4-1. The only other thing I had on the claims was to check in with you, Michelle, about that OSHA manual. Did you ever figure out where that came from? Or?
Yeah, it's from the same company. It's sent back with the thing, so it's all.
Oh, okay.
It's all back.
Okay.
And I've been told that we don't need it.
Super.
On the live stream, maybe I was asleep, maybe I missed the meeting. Did we talk about that ahead of time in a meeting to do the live stream? Spend money to do it?
No, I don't think so.
So I, as a council member, if I have a pretty strong feeling about doing something, I guess just go ahead and pull the trigger and bring the receipt in to get reimbursed.
Okay. Number 7, reports. So So for December 2020, we are still way back then with these reports. The final check register doesn't match the appropriations, it's off $362.52. January of 2021, the final check register doesn't match the appropriations, it's off $21,041.45. And also the bank rec is higher than the fund report by $677.61. February of 2021, the bank rec is higher than the fund report by $73.67. March of 2021, the final check register doesn't match the appropriation, and the fund report is higher than the bank rec by $793.46. And then in April 2021, the fund report is higher than the bank rec by $277.20. And then for May of 2021, we don't have the closed monthly check register. And for June of 2021, we don't have the closed monthly check register or the bank rec. And those are all things that we have to get from the clerk. All of these things, the appropriation report, the bank rec, the fund report, the revenue report, the closed check register, all come from the clerk. So we're just waiting until everything balances and we have all the documents, and so we can approve them. So we'll add July 2021 to the agenda next month, and hopefully we can approve them all then and get these off the agenda.
So the funny thing is I don't see how you're getting all of your figures, because the bank rec goes off of the check register and the receipts. So it would be off those amounts if it wasn't matching.
I don't know, for December, I thought, oh cool, this one works out, but I don't know if maybe something was added to the check register after the bank rec was done.
Can't do that.
The one final. Like if Susie Bass or whoever did that bank rec
Yes.
did it,
We balance everything through the final of the year.
right, so then saying if you added something to that check register, like, I'm not saying intentionally or anything, I'm just saying like if it got added because the check register was closed, whatever, maybe that would throw it off.
Bank rec wouldn't balance because it pulls from those numbers. So I mean, I can send Susie a message and be like, hey, this is what Jen says, because like I said,
No, I don't wanna pay Susie any more money to look into this.
Susie's not gonna call, or charge me just to call her and ask her a simple question. I didn't ask her to look into it. I said, I can call her and be like, hey, Jen is saying this, what's your opinion?
I'm getting my numbers literally from the check register you sent and the appropriation report.
Correct.
So I don't, those are where I got the numbers, they don't match.
So you're saying that every single, the check register, the bank rec, the appropriation report, the fund report, and the revenue report are all supposed to have the same exact number?
No.
So what are you saying is not
So-
matching with the bank rec?
For December,
For any of the months in general, what are reports, are you matching up for every single one of these months?
so the bank rec, I'm saying for January of 2021, the bank rec was higher than the fund report.
Okay, I don't wanna go through monthly, I'm just
Oh,
saying
okay,
your reports
so the
you're looking at.
the bank rec and the fund report weren't matching.
Okay.
And then the check register and the appropriation weren't matching for some of them.
Okay.
Was there any further discussion from the council or the public? Okay. So, to the minutes. So we will be approving the final minutes. These are the ones that we didn't approve last time. They were ready, but then there were some council members that were like, we didn't have these edited final minutes in enough time, so we weren't going to approve them, so we can approve them now. There are 9 of them. So I would move to approve these minutes. December 21, 2022, end of year. January 11th, 2021, Utility Board. January 11th, 2021, Town Council. February 8th, 2021, Utility Board. February 8th, 2021, Town Council. March 25th, 2021, Utility Board. March 25th, 2021, Town Council. April 12th, 2021, Utility Board. And April 12th, 2021, Town Council. Is there a second?
Seconded.
Okay, there's been a motion made by myself and seconded by Stan to approve these 9 minutes. Is there any council discussion?
These are all minutes that you or somebody has edited and added language and took language out, okay?
If it was needed, yeah.
And for that reason, I'll be voting no.
Actually, they were sent to you long ago after they were edited, and you gave me no corrections whatsoever. Okay. Any further discussion from the council?
Well, I'd just like to say the ones that I edited and stuff, Michelle's were completely wrong and things were left out of order and everything. And I went, because I did it for 12 years and did it verbatim, word verbatim. I don't leave out an at, a the, or an it, or anything. And what I find is, even some of these last minutes, the one we just got, it's got your opinion on something and not our side's opinion on anything. So I think that needs to be added in with it, both sides' opinion, not just one. But I suggest everybody look back and get the original minutes and look at the new ones that we're okaying now, and look at that meeting and see how many changes were needed.
I had my wording that I've said in the meeting removed and wording added, or words added that weren't said during that meeting in the minutes. Yes, they are, because I attach, well, once I actually get all of the minutes, mine that I sent to you guys are attached to what you guys approve so that they can see both sides of the story.
Sorry, you're wrong.
But also, our
Attaching
ordinance
minutes.
and Indiana code says, along with Robert's Rule of Orders, that we are not supposed to do the minutes word by word. It's supposed to be the time, the place of the meeting, who attended, and any legal votes that were taken. It is not supposed to be word.
Yeah, and it's supposed to be the gist of
And
the
that's what I
gist of both sides, not just a one-sided
My
meeting.
sides are removed.
No,
Okay,
they aren't.
that's okay. Carla, do you have anything? Okay, anything from the public? Okay. So we're voting to approve these 9 minutes. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed?
Aye.
Okay, so those pass 4-1. Michelle emailed us Friday, the May 11th, 2021 Utility Board minutes and the May 11th, 21 Town Council minutes. So we're still missing May 27th, 2021 Utility Board, May 27th Town Council, June 15th, 2021 Utility Board, and June 15th, 2021 Town Council. And then we'll have the ones from tonight, so we can approve those 8, hopefully in one batch when we get them. And speaking of the rules, I just want to point out that we are behind 17 minutes or something, and our ordinance says that the minutes should be to us by the next meeting so that we can approve them. And we've just approved something from December of 2020.
And you've had
So-
these minutes for months. So, and it's been
Michelle?
on the
Okay,
agenda
no, it's
for
okay,
months.
okay, we're done. Okay, we're
It's 'cause
on
they're all
to
together.
She's wrong.
public comments. Are there any comments from the public about something that wasn't on the agenda?
Well, I guess I'll speak as a resident / clerk treasurer, so Michelle Freeward, 295, or wait, where do I live? 290 Washington Street. So again, since I'm not on the agenda allowed to talk, just wanted, I put in the minutes, I don't know if you read the minutes for May, but the vote that you guys took to approve the minutes in May, there was a motion made, no second, there was discussion, and then I asked Jen who made the second, and you stated Stan did, and you said, right Stan, and Stan goes, yeah, and then you went along with the vote. So there was no second to approve that slew of minutes during the May meeting. So I put that in the minutes that there was no second. So I'm assuming they need to remake that motion at the next meeting, since it was not seconded and it was taken to a vote.
Correct.
Okay. Can I pull them up right now and prove them? Because they need to be on the agenda.
These are minutes from which board meeting?
The Mays that they approved, like there
Minutes
was
that-
9.
It's a vote that was approved, but was procedurally not correct, so you can go back and correct it.
But I need to have those
Right.
9 minutes. No, I don't know.
If
You're
you
gonna
pull
tell
up
us,
the
I'm-
minutes and like the email and all of the, like the minutes when I emailed them to you guys Friday, it's in the minutes, all of them are listed.
Let me see if I can do that real quick. If not, we're gonna do it. Oh, there you go. Oh, you know, perfect. Thank you, Carla. I move to approve November 9th, 2020 Utility Board, November 9th, 2020 Town Council, November 23rd, 2020 Special Meeting, December 14th, 2020 Utility Board, December 14th, 2020 Town Council, December 29th, 2020 Bill Approval, January 25th, 2021 Special Meeting, February 2nd, 2021 Special Meeting, February 22nd, 2021 Executive Session, February 23rd, 2021 Executive Session, and February 23rd, 2021 Special Meeting.
I second it.
Okay, there's been a motion made by myself and seconded by Stan to approve these minutes. Is there any discussion from the council?
Again, these are meeting minutes that have been edited, or some of them have been edited, so I'll be voting no on this.
Any further? Okay. All in favor of approving these minutes, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Aye.
Thank you. Okay, so those pass for one. Thank you. Was that it, Michelle? Yeah. Okay. Anything else from the public? Oh,
Just in general, or?
yes, this is just public comments on,
So moving forward with your meetings, are we gonna have the same format with just a small number of people, or is there any particular rules that we can put out there publicly so that I don't have to get escorted out and come back in 20 minutes later? Like, what time are we allowed to come in the building, not come in the building, all that kind of stuff? Can we get that out there for everybody?
so I think that what was decided when we were deciding all the rules about going back to in-person, were that we would open up the door 15 minutes before the meeting. So for 7 o'clock meeting, open it up at 6:45, and then the first 12 people got the 12 chairs. We didn't know it was just gonna be you and one other person. I think we were just trying to make sure that it was fair and that it wasn't, you know.
So nobody from the public until 6:45?
Yeah.
Is that what we're saying?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
That was somewhere listed.
I don't know,
We'll be holding this format as long as the health department tells us we have to.
Can we do more capacity? I mean, can we be like, I mean, restaurants are at 100% capacity. Could we at least be at 50% capacity?
Well, we only
We're
have
not
2
even at
people.
10%
We
right
have
now, actually, so
3.
why would we
She's not an
put more?
employee.
Right,
You know, you got 12 chairs out there, and we got 2 citizens here,
right,
okay?
right.
So why are you worrying about adding more chairs right now? Why don't we wait till they get a few
Ron,
more people?
there may be 13 people at the next meeting, so
right.
I'd like to have a chair for everybody, so.
You're just making it hard, ass.
okay,
Well, I'm not making anything,
Yes, you are.
I'm trying to use some common sense here. You know, you go to restaurants, you go to, everywhere, and, Indiana's at 100% capacity.
And you're-
All I'm asking for is maybe we could get up to 50% capacity.
well, let's see how the next meeting is.
I was
Stan, do
gonna-
you have anything?
No.
Ron?
Yeah, I'm looking out here, and there's 2 chairs, 3 chairs out of a dozen or 13 chairs
Public
taken.
comment.
Huh?
Well, you're talking.
Don't
and I'm
interrupt
public
me,
comment.
she just asked me and I'm talking,
I
so
know,
could you wait
Michelle,
till we get done?
Michelle.
Council comments.
Could you wait till we get done? The president of the board asked me if I had a comment, and I'm saying to Ashley, you've got 2, 3 people out here and 10 chairs left over. Yeah, let's go ahead and throw 30 chairs out here in case on a whim there might be somebody coming here.
Carla?
That's what I was thinking.
Hold on,
Yes.
Carla.
I just wanted to address what Ashley had to say, insofar as, you're correct, Indiana's open, but every restaurant has the option of being fully, at full capacity. Some are, some are not.
Correct.
And so, I think the first few meetings, we were just kind of playing it safe. Let's just be safe for everybody, for us, for the people coming in. Let's just be cautious. It's the first meeting we've had that's open. So let's see what happens next month. We'll keep the same parameters. Let's see what happens next month. If we do wind up with a 13 person, then the following month, then okay, we would need to consider doing that. But,
Well, we've had to deal with this pandemic that no other council has ever had to deal with. And, there's no rules, we just, no precedence of how to do it. We're doing the best we can.
Okay, was there anything else?
I just had a question to piggyback
Okay.
off of Danny's.
Okay.
So, how he was escorted out of the building because I let him in because it was raining. My question is, why was the marshal required to escort out Danny, yet Ron Kohler's wife, Cindy Marsh, is sitting back here and she was not escorted out? She is not an employee, she's not an elected official,
No.
so how come she got to sit in here?
Because she's not in here because she's Ron Fuller's wife.
She is.
She's in here because she's recording the meeting to live stream
So she's
for
now
the
a
town
employee?
council. Absolutely not, she's doing it as a volunteer with her own equipment and her own expertise after recording every meeting for the last 6 years.
With
Thank
your
you,
live
Cindy Marsh.
streaming that the town just paid for.
Stop causing
Yes,
trouble,
stop. She's
Michelle.
okay.
No, correct me if I'm wrong, Brady, you and I had this conversation because we were threatened with a lawsuit by a resident because a video was posted with, or a meeting with a minor's name in it. And Reed sat here and stated that we needed to make it abundantly clear that we were not affiliated with the Dayton Watchdog.
She's not recording for the Dayton Watchdog,
Exactly,
she's
but that
recording for
makes
the town
her,
of Dayton.
exactly, so now that makes her
A volunteer.
Nope.
Thank you.
But still, it doesn't matter, she is a resident, so therefore she should not have been allowed in this building until 15
To
minutes.
set up her equipment.
She had it set
But
up in
you
less
don't
than
make the
10
rules.
minutes.
Is there any other public
No, I
comment?
don't make the
Yes.
rules, it's called favoritism.
I just want to make a couple comments. One is thank you guys for providing a pandemic-safe meeting circumstance. I brought my mask just in case there were 12 or 13 people in here, because some of us of a certain age are more cautious, even though some of us are vaccinated, but maybe some of us are not, and it's a private thing. People don't want to say if they are or not, and I understand that. But you guys have been super cautious the whole time and keeping everybody safe, and I, for one, appreciate that. The second thing is, it's obvious that some people don't appreciate your efforts to be transparent and to provide the opportunities for people to see the council meeting live on both YouTube and Facebook, because a lot of people aren't on Facebook, a lot of people. And I can volunteer right now to offer this option for you. You know, if Ashley doesn't want to pay for the caster, so you can live stream to both Facebook and YouTube simultaneously, I'll pay for it, and I'll do it to the Watchdog YouTube instead of the Town of Dayton YouTube, if that would be your preference.
Being fiscally responsible. Thank you, Mrs. Marsh.
Any other public comment? Okay. I move to adjourn this
Wait.
meeting.
Council.
Okay, Ashley, do you have anything?
No.
Stan?
No,
Ron, do you have anything?
I guess.
Oh, wait, actually, I did have something. Let me go before you.
Yeah, go.
Michelle, you said, I want to say something because I'm not allowed on the agenda. You get the same email as every council member, as the town marshal, and Mark, and it says, would you like anything on the agenda?
Correct.
You don't respond. So you are more than welcome to be on the agenda,
With
you
your
choose
approval.
not to.
With your approval.
You choose not to.
With
Okay,
your
go ahead,
approval.
Ron.
I have
Okay,
it.
Ashley, I forgot to say, when you're checking all this stuff, if you would please check, this back door needs an awning on it. We talked about several years. It'd be nice that, you know, when it's raining out, you're trying to push the button and everything, or especially come winter, so if you can check on that, that'd be nice to get the cost. I want to say thanks to Stan for weekly mowing all the properties to try to help Mark take some of the load off his back, because Mark's got a lot of stuff going on with all this grant, streets and subdivision and all that, so. Also, I wanted to bring up, I told Mark, but just so the public knows, there's a rain here, and the subdivision down there has a pond on the corner of it that was supposed to not spill over or go anywhere, and it's spilling out of the pond and flooding half of the road out there, half the counties and half the Dayton's maybe. It was on Facebook, people were complaining about it, so Mark is going to check with them and deal with it. He's already knows about it, and talked to Malacus, something needs to be done because the pond is not working how it's supposed to be. And one thing, the minutes, I do want to bring up one thing, that the reason these minutes were okayed so many months later, whether Michelle did them or whether we did them, is because over the last year and a third, a lot of these minutes, Michelle, we didn't get them for 6 months or 5 months or 2 months or 7 months or 9. Then when we get them, we had so many to do, it took us a while to go over them because you got big batches of them. It took you months to get them to us. So I think, you know, we got them relatively quickly back. And whether they're right or wrong is up to question. But, and oh, I wanted to say something about, I don't know, this place say, but when these people, there seems to be several people in town when they load up their trash things, and we could all keep an eye out. Some people just load 10 or 12 extra garbage bags and lay it beside their trash with umbrellas and all kinds of debris. And they're not picking that up anymore, you know, I mean, they're just, so we need to, all of us, let all our neighbors know and everything like that. We had a neighbor that did that, there's other places you go around that's.
If they're consistently over, can't get it in their trash can, they need to buy another trash can.
Yeah. Well, some of these.
I think what you're saying is, Ron, is it has to be in that trash can.
Right.
In order to be removed from the streets.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, every week you see people throwing a bunch of stuff alongside it, you know.
Right.
The driver ain't got time to get out of that. They
No,
would
no,
pick
no,
it up.
that's not gonna happen.
A rent house right up here that a family member owns, he had like 2 pickup stuffs loaded out there. And I went and talked to him, and he came from Lafayette. He said in Lafayette, you put everything out, they pick it all up. Well, not here, you know, so he's not gonna do that anymore. Anyway, we can spread the word that, that's all.
Carla, do you have anything? Okay. I move to adjourn this meeting. Second. Do we need to vote? All in favor of adjourning, say aye.
Aye.
Aye.